Okay, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed our conversations. We're going to end the night because I have to get up at 4:30 to go to work, and so does Danny. He has to work. So, we're going to end the night with a good conversation, basically about, well, what the hell are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the fact that our presidents have been so stupid to let all this immigration of foreign people come in and take our jobs, all this illegal immigration, and I'm not just talking about Mexicans. There's whites, there's blacks, there's Indians, and the whole work that are here illegally. Taking our jobs.
Okay, wait a minute. You do understand we're both Hispanics, right?
Yeah.
So most people probably in the nation consider us wetbacks.
I understand that.
Mojados.
And then more Mojados than us because their original ancestors, being the European settlers, swam over here. We just walked across the border.
Yeah. Well,
so they're more Mojados than us.
Well, exactly. Well, this land was actually
belonged to the Native American Indians.
Yeah.
So the European settlers came and destroyed their villages, raped their children, and killed their men.
Exactly. Well, not just that, but basically Texas was Mexico, California was Mexico, and before that, it was part of, or where we originated from Indians, the Native Americans that were here before.
Yes.
They were all here way before any European settler decided to come this way.
Exactly. And since the beginning, the white man has always been putting down every other race.
Okay, you know, it's funny because talking about race and all this stuff, I saw a sign, well, I read about a sign, and it basically said, no dogs, no shoes, and at the bottom it said, no Mexicans. So basically, in order to go in that store, we couldn't. Mexicans couldn't. So basically, we're below dogs.
That is actually very sick, but we can also look at the white people and call them white trash, and they just think they're better than everybody else. And if you look at them, yeah, they may have money, they may have good jobs, they have high status, high social status, and very good economic status, and very good educational background. But if you notice, even they have problems of their own.
Well, of course, everybody has problems, whether you're black, white, brown, yellow, purple, red, whatever. And that's true. But you know what? The thing is, you know what? Being a minority, which we are, we basically, we all have access to higher education, better learning, better teaching. But the thing is, certain, especially majorities, have that one step always ahead of minorities.
Well, you do have white privilege, so that is true.
And exactly, okay, when you go to go get a loan, and there's two people wanting the same exact loan, and they can only give one loan, one's a Mexican, one's a white person, and same exact everything, who are they going to give the loan to?
Most likely the white person.
Most likely the white person, exactly.
But let me explain something.
Now we're kind of beating down the throat of, saying white this, white that, but that's not the point, because there's racism everywhere. I mean, we go across the river to Juarez, Mexico, and you go there, and the Border Patrol, and it's a Mexican Border Patrol agent, and they're giving you more crap than a white or a black or somebody would else.
Oh, I experience that in the stores all the time. I went to Walmart, and this Mexican girl was giving me a hard time, and I'm a Mexican myself. A white girl comes out, it helps me and gives me exactly what I need with no questions asked. And she's a white girl.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something else. I had a white man at a white company I worked for. He went and helped me get all these brand new accounts to make all kinds of money, and he was a white guy. So not all white guys are bad, but let's look at something different. Why are the Mexicans put down so much more than every other race?
Well,
they do it to themselves.
Exactly. And
what do you see in the welfare lines? What do you see in the GSAs, in the food stamp lines? What do you see having all these kids before marriage?
But that's a big misconception, because you know what? In populations areas like El Paso, of course there's going to be more Hispanics, because El Paso makes up of 81% Hispanics. So you live in a place like San Jose where the Hispanic population is extremely high as well. So of course it's going to be high. But when you go to the southern states, Midwest, stuff like that, you're going to see a lot of black people. You're going to see a lot of white people in those food stamps lines. And in fact, in our economy as it is now, you're going to see a hell of a lot of people in food stamps, people with degrees. I have a bachelor's degree and I'm not making that much money. I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck. I have a bachelor's degree. My wife has a bachelor's degree. She can't find a job,
Well, let me say this. Working in the shelter industry with the homeless, we have so many people that have the Mercedes-Benz, the big job, the corporate degree, and now they're waiting for us to tell them what time to get up, what time to come home, what time to eat, and what they're going to do.
Well, let me just tell you while we're ranting, one thing I can't stand is, you know what? There's people who have better jobs than me where I work, and I realized one guy was knocking down my university, UTEP, saying this and that about UTEP and this and that. So I decided to, you know what, well, let me see what school he went to. It turns out he doesn't even have an associate's. He has a certification from a technical school, and he's talking crap about my university. Now that's the thing. One thing I can't stand is that it's hard to find jobs, especially in this economy, because it's all about who you know, who you can trust. Oh, you know, I see other people who they get handed these jobs, and they're seriously, they're not qualified. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Same thing, you know, that happened to Mimi. She goes and expected to try to get she didn't even get an interview for a teacher's aide position. This is just an aide position. And they gave it to somebody who they fired 2 months later because they felt sorry for her.
Well, let me say this. I got into social working jobs because I knew my aunt who is a social worker in that industry, so of course I got in. And my cousin got into the same way, and my other cousin too. So it's also a lot of who you know sometimes. Look at me. I got into that job when I was making $2,000 take home every 2 weeks from a call center. And all I was doing was talking to nurses. Why did I get that job? Because I knew somebody. I would have not have gotten hired on my own, but because I knew somebody.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We have to know somebody. We have to do it. It's not about, you know, the fact that I took 6, 7, 8 accounting classes, economic classes, statistics. All this stuff is not about what you know. And even then, you know, they want, oh, well, you got to have all this experience. How are we supposed to get this experience if nobody wants to hire us? We have to settle for jobs that are, you know, this or that, you know. So I don't know. I think this.
Let me touch on a different little. Let me twist the subject a little bit here and talk about something else. In 2003, my supervisor made a comment that one day the United States is going to be like Mexico. You're either going to have money or you don't. No more middle class. The middle class is disappearing. The young people of today do not have a future, according to politicians. The young people today are actually out of luck. They'll be lucky to have a job by the time they reach our age. In addition to that, years ago, in 2003, this lady told me, I'm going to wait for all these houses to crash, and I'm going to buy myself a big house in San Jose for $100,000. And that's exactly what happened. Why? Because people got so greedy. A lot of these banks played on the people that were immigrants here from other countries. Comprar tu casa, el americano sueño, the American dream, buy your house. What's the big deal about having a house? It's not like you can leave it to your kids anyways, because when you do, they still have to pay the taxes on it. So it's not like you're doing a big old thing, and they make it so big to own your own house, but they play on the fact that they come from another country, and to them that's a big thing. The banks took advantage of a lot of people, and that's what caused the housing market to fall. All the banks started going under because they couldn't pay back these loans. Giving house loans of $2,000 or $3,000 a month to people making $10 an hour. That's absolutely ridiculous and stupidity.
Of course, but it's called American greed. It's not the American dream. It's American greed because everybody wants more. And of course, the industry is going to say, "Oh yeah, let's give out all these loans. The economy is going great." And then all of a sudden, 2008 happens, and there, boom, complete disaster. Everything falling apart. Banks everywhere. You know.
But not only that, if you look at what the Bible says, I'm going to just touch this really quick. The Bible says when a nation no longer serves God, He will give it over to another nation to be destroyed. You see that over and over in the Old Testament. Ever since they took prayer out of schools, way back when, our economy and our world and our society have gone down.
Well, exactly. Speaking
all
of
our
economy,
jobs,
they actually put an article yesterday saying that, you know what, the majority of the world, by survey, now considers China to be the #1 economic power. Now, technically,
it's going that way.
But it's going that way. But right now, China's somewhere around 5 trillion, but the United States is still at 15 trillion. So just because people are perceiving it doesn't necessarily make it true. But at the same time, the fact that people are seeing it that way is something to be scared about and cautious about, because you know what? You know what?
The Bible does say that Asia will be our door.
Exactly.
And if you look at this, all our jobs are being outsourced. Even the colleges used to offer electronics and other programs that are no more offered because the jobs are overseas.
Exactly. Everything is in China.
And for the first time,
and that's the thing. Okay, that was a Skype. Somebody was calling us, but we're in Nancy right now. But anyways, okay, exactly. Everything's outsourced. We call Bank of America, and it's like, what do you want to talk to? Okay. Well, please give me your account information.
Well, I'll say this. 10 years ago, I used to go to McCarthy Ranch in Milpitas in California, and it was all Mexicans. I go there now, 10 years later, and it's all Indians and Asians.
Exactly.
And if you walk into McDonald's and Taco Bell, what do you see working there now? Asians and Indians. Our jobs have gone down. people at my church were even saying, I'm going back home to my country because I can't even get a job here no more. People are actually outsourcing to other countries. I know people that are thinking about going abroad to other countries and working. I myself was thinking about going to Dubai or Singapore and starting over completely over there. It sounds
Yeah,
like a
but
great
we all
idea.
know that the reason you're going over there is for fun, not for your. to
Excuse
make
me,
money.
brother. Excuse me, brother. My boss asked me for my last big job, corporate job that I had, that I was making $2,000 every 2 weeks, if I would be willing to help him start a call center in Turkey. Why does he want to go to Turkey? Because it's so cheap. He asked me if I'd like to go. I said, yes, I would.
Of course you would, because apparently you can't marry American women. You have to marry foreign women.
Because I like Asian girls. I'm sorry.
But Turkey, they're not Asian. They're Turkish, whatever they are. Anyways, on closing, because we're already gone over our limit, basically our economy is still screwed. But you know what? I'd rather live in America than in any country in the world, because you know what? Every day I look over from El Paso, Texas, over to Juarez, Mexico. I see these neon-colored homes, and I see this. I see people on the streets begging. Yeah, of course, there's a lot of areas in Mexico that are well off. In fact, they're filthy rich. But there's a lot of places that it's not. And you know what? I thank God, basically, for what He has given us in the United States. Because even in our worst time and in our downtime, it's still way better than a lot of places.
Actually, I agree with you, Mr. Carrasco. Now, I want to say one last thing before we go here is, in regards to the economy and all the stuff, people crying because of this and that, and all these jobs and everything. You know what? Okay, 30, 40 years ago, we get out of high school, we get a job, we support our family, we live and we die. Okay, times have changed. Now you got to go to school and live a whole different way. You got to change your standards of way of living. You got to live within your means now, and things are different. Quit crying about it and go with the flow.
Exactly.
Just like this. Mommy, Daddy, big brother turned the TV on me. And you go to your mommy and daddy crying. Well, unfortunately, you can't do that as an adult. Go with the flow and just adapt. Have a good night.
Have a good night.